Hello guys, hello friends, I'm back for another random little JP WOTV video. It's Monday 28th of July and we have some interesting news. I read this over a little bit via the translator, but what this news basically says, this first portion is something about introducing a new producer. So the one that WOTV has had this whole time is stepping away and being replaced by somebody else. What does that mean for the game? I think it could be seen as either good news or bad news, right? So obviously Gumi is launching a new title, which is very much like WOTV. Like, it's almost a carbon copy of the gameplay, the style of the game, the way the game looks. It's very, very similar. So maybe he's going to work full time on that while the game is getting ready to launch. I think in September or August, late August. It's coming soon to JP. And the new producer, I don't know who it is, but you know, it is what it is, right? Changes happen. I think it's potentially good news, but that's just me. So this week we also saw something new come to the game. And what this is it almost is like a reincarnation 2.0 or a dream ability 2 for older units. And this week only, we have this shop. And as we can see, there are a bunch of units that are on here. Frederica, which I think is the only gunner unit in the bunch, and everybody else is basically a warrior. So for example, right, 40 mind spheres for 400 shards. And what I'm gonna scoot over to is my browser. So here we can see what we're talking about. So this would be the dream ability 2, defense pen, all attribute ability attack up, and defense pen critical strike, defense pen critical strike. So every style of unit kind of gets a generic additional boost, but the additional effect is that once you basically reincarnate them a second time, which is going to cost you another 120 mind spheres, another antler, you can unlock additional reincarnation stats. So for somebody like Lucio, which is one of the newer units that were included, one of the latest units that were included, they said that this is only gonna go up to like old, right? That kind of prior bracket of units. Like old is the last one. You've got young Helena, and then you've got some of these Apocalypse Festival units. So a unit like Lucio could be worth investing in, because the stat upgrade that he gets would kind of put him in a nice spot in terms of stats. Plus he got a nice MA3, and they also, some of them get, I think, some ability upgrades. Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff going on here. But for units like Mont, right, where you can easily reincarnate him, all it's going to really cost you is some of those elemental mats. He picks up quite a lot of HP, right? He can go up to 6,300 now. So that's going to make him much, much more viable for limited content. And then you've got Mariel, Dario, Little Leela. They even threw in something like Gilgamesh and Titus. But the problem with Titus is you can't buy any of his shards. And I highly doubt anybody is going to reincarnate him like over 80 times. I believe the formula is once they're reincarnated 80 times, which costs you 1600 mind spheres, right? Then the price of the mind spheres drops in half. So it goes to 10 mind spheres to get, and you could basically go up to, I guess, 162, 163, and then you will maybe be just fully capped out, right? And you see, like, Frederica, she got, like, distance barrier. Zazan and Titus have, like, the same kind of generic D-pen physical. And not all units got an MA3, but somebody like Mont got an MA3, which is pretty nice. Like, he got an ability upgrade to his main buff, which gives him an aura now. So Mont's actually pretty nice. He also got, in his MA3, he got like a physical barrier, and then his main ability gives him another barrier. Like, I don't know, it's Mont looking pretty nice for limited stuff for sure. And then they included Ramza, but again, you can't pick up mind spheres for this unit. So it is what it is, right? And so for me, for example, right, like I see a unit like Chunak and Mont, probably not Engelbert. I obviously don't have Lucio, Gilgamesh, but I might pick up, like, spend maybe 1,000, 2,000 viz and just pick up some mind spheres just so I can easily get them to 120. I don't think I have any plans for bringing these units, you know, reincarnating them, because reincarnating them does still cost you the elemental materials, and I don't think that it's really that worth it. So the other thing that they did add is perhaps a new wave of quests or gear acquisition that you can do. And the first one is the Durandal, and you clear the mission once. I don't know if you need to get all the stars, but you clear the mission once and you will get the weapon in the quest. So I think this is a select ticket for shards, and you get a little bit of scrolls, but this quest has a cost limit to it. I think it's 390, so you have to weave in some MRs, you have to weave in the cost, right? So you can't just stack all the best units, but as you can see, you can only bring warriors to the battle. I think I tried it. Anyways, so it is a challenge for sure. You're gonna need really good strategy to clear this. I think one of the main things that's focused on this is there's a lot of evasion stuff, so you need to, like, figure out how you're gonna kill evasion units with guaranteed hits and accuracy and luck and all that good stuff. So for now, the other thing that we got this week, I thought this was like maybe a 1 week early, but we did get a guild raid. So Balaam Garden, we're rank 400, which I think makes sense for where we're at in terms of a guild. I am like the top scorer on 2 of my accounts. I'm top score. Like you see, 13 mil, 10 mil, and then we got a sharp drop off for the rest of the guild. Like, I'm the only one really putting in some big time work on these bosses, able to score about 1.5 mil on I think 3 of them, and then the other ones I could score maybe 1 mil. And what I also want to just go over, something that I think people in global would have really enjoyed, which is a team based around the 2 new Gunner FF7 units. So the squad, okay, since we're doing, it's a cost limited format. I used this the last time for the cost limited. It was 270, but I don't have any 70 cost units that are worked out. And now it's 290, but I don't have any 90 cost units that are worked out. If I could work out units like for 270, I think Charisse would be really, really good. 290, probably Eliza is really, really good. The advantage of running this team is this vision card, this vision card, this vision card, that vision card, and this vision card all touch bow and gun. So I like this setup. The advantage of running a bow unit with these two is that this bow unit can obviously hit from really far, but they will trigger follow-up effects from my two main carries. So I've made it to platinum or something, and I think this is like my second or third of these quick picks. And I'm just gonna queue up. Now my team, the way I've got it set up is I've got all three of my units in the bottom corner, and what I'm hoping is that they will the enemy will either group in the middle or group on the other side of the map, so I can get multiple buffs off. Because if they run straight at me or they run in range of my long range units, I'm obviously not going to be buffing and I'm just going to start shooting. But getting the buffs off increases my damage by a lot because there are follow-up buffs, right? Irina's got the follow-up buff. Rufus has his follow-up buff, and then Curry has also his group buff, which boosts attack and agility. So if he gets to buff both of my main carries, which sometimes happens depending on where my units line up, and then both of my Rufus and Irina get to have their get to use their follow-up buffs, then my damage is going to be pretty high. So vision card, like this one here, they have the tank unit, so she might actually run forward because she gets to have a turn before Rufus. If she runs up, that might be Rufus might just go ahead and just shoot her and not get any buffs off, which is sort of a loss. Or yeah, I'll probably end up losing if I don't get if Rufus doesn't get his follow-up buff off. So it looks like she's probably gonna run up. Is Rufus in range? I think he might be. So normally he would go to the left in between Curry and Irina, and then do his group buff, and then do his second buff, which gives him the follow-up attack. So right now I don't have any of that going on, so this is probably going to be a loss. But that is the way that these on these maps, going with long-range units, like even Curry didn't use any buffs. Only Irina used a buff, which is not good. This team is very fast as well. They just buffed and ran up right away. So normally I would have some type of advantage because I've got a lightning unit into water, but I don't think I have that much of an advantage now. What is interesting about their team is they're running the new summer unit, and the summer unit actually is very, very good. When she revives, she heals like the entire team. She has that's one of her follow-up effects upon reviving. She will heal all three of her allies, no matter where they are. She'll just drop a huge heal. And then I think she also gives herself additional resistances. The other thing is her her sub job ability, where she drops a heal. She will actually use that even being very close to the enemies. She will just heal herself if she's low. So as you saw right there, Irina kind of slaps with her follow-up attack, and Rufus has been very tanky for me. Now, the advantage of running Curry is against units that are more physical based, Curry can drop Frostbite. So that's the main advantage of Curry, is he can just Frostbite them from a long range. And on certain units, that can be very, very powerful, because they'll be frostbitten. By the time they walk up to me, they may have, you know, only one move in the bank. It's hard to say. But I'm actually like slapping them right now. So I thought I was gonna get owned, but turns out Irina's really a strong unit. I have them only at level 140, no reincarnations. So you can imagine at the top tier, like in the top guilds, having these units max reincarnated has been very meta defining. So that's what I was talking about. She has a self heal and she will just pop it whenever she needs. I don't know if I have any dispel revive on this. I don't think so. But once Irina gets in range, I'll probably be able to beat her down. And then I'll just try one more match. And then that's basically it for this week. There was the new vision card for the summer unit. I don't really like that card. It's okay. It gives like a physical distance barrier, and then elemental chain resistance, and maybe critical avoidance. Not really special, but I did pull the card, and I'm not really using it. But maybe when I have Summer Ami all the way worked out, maybe I'll use it then. I'll weave it into some teams. One thing about Summer Amnelis, she has some really good groupings, either with Glove, with Devout, with obviously with books, as this team was basically a Devout book mace team, which has really good cards. The other grouping that she does really well with is going to be Black Mages. But unfortunately, the latest Black Mage has not really affected the meta that much. I think he's pretty alright, the FF14 unit, but he's not that good. Like, he hasn't really defined the meta at all. The Wind unit has seen more action, and he's actually very robust. Wind is a very popular element in JP, I have noticed. Now, this team, I've been playing this team on both my main and sub account, because I have all the units as well. It's probably my favorite limited team. It does make me want to invest and level up Charisse, Eliza. The other unit that can be cool with these two is Maviana, the ice bow unit. Pretty nice. It can work well. Obviously, Yuna would have been a great third wheel for these two units. On WOTV stats, sometimes the top guild does run those three units. I guess it's like a map dependent. You know, if the map has a good lineup for gunners, they'll run that team. Right now, the meta is definitely at the top end, littered with the latest units, which I think makes sense based off the fact that we're about a little bit over 1 year into the new power creep. So now units that are trickling in have to be, you know, they have to be stronger than like 20 or 30 units. Otherwise, they're just not gonna sell. So I think it makes sense that the latest units are really, really good. A trend that has continued is follow-up attack units are essentially almost always at the top of the meta. As we can see here, being like rank 4000-ish, follow-up units do a really, really good job. Well, I may have crashed. So if I... Okay, I did crash. But my team does have some good accuracy. Like 2 luck cards, 1 accuracy card. So sometimes I can do well into evasion teams. But if they're like super geared out for evasion, I probably lose that. So I may have just lost a free match there. Yeah, I lost a match. At least it didn't restart the game. I'll try one more. But, you know, it's... I still feel like this game on global, in English, worldwide, still had a lot of steam left in it. These newer units would have been really beloved by the global community. Really, really enjoyable units. They're very flexible in how you can build them. They obviously have been releasing a lot of really good cards lately as well, which I think people would have enjoyed a lot. Increases the potential for team building. I don't regret playing on JP at all. It's been awesome. So we'll see if this match goes off. But yeah, whenever I run into tanks, which is, I guess, somewhat likely, it does definitely disrupt my buffer. Okay, well, I guess I'm not gonna be able to do a second match. So I'll just leave it at that. New producer, new system of reincarnating old units. That's what we got this week. And next week, I guess we'll get the news soon. Should be around, let's see. Yeah, it'll be probably the 30th, 31st. Right before August takes off. Obviously, for the additional reincarnations, I think like the latest unit, like the most recent units, have the most potential with that, especially considering that you can buy a lot of shards for them. So let's say, like, I'll use an example like Aldoa, right? I think she was literally the last unit before, right? So a lot of people may have her, you know, mildly reincarnated already. So being able to buy like a bunch of shards for that unit for relatively cheap, essentially a fifth of the normal cost, and then getting them all the way up could bring those units somewhat back into the fold. Like Lucio's a good example. You know, maybe young Helena could be brought back into the fold with more stats, more damage. It's hard to say, but it does point towards the future that, let's say we do get a new power creep, then all of the 5th anniversary units might see the same type of treatment in the future, right? It's possible. But yeah, it's not the greatest system. I think, you know, ever since they introduced reincarnations, they really needed to do something about the shard game. It's just, you know, you need too many shards to reincarnate somebody maxed. It takes too long to slow build and all that. Buying shards is not always optimal, because if you're buying shards, you might as well be buying shards for the latest unit, right? And that's kind of... Anyways, guys, peace out for now. We'll see what's up next week. Take care.